Just a second. So we have Ankit Singh joined with us. Hi, sir. How are you?
Hello, Harinder. Good evening. Yeah, I'm absolutely fine. What about you?
I'm also great. Thank you very much, sir, for joining with us today to our live hacking event.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So we have almost all the students are joining back, and in the meantime, I just wanted to ask, what are your views on this amazing event? Like this is something
It's
very new.
absolutely, yeah, Harinder. Actually, the thing is like for me personally, one of the best aspect of this bug bounty scenario is the best. I mean, the most fascinating aspect for me personally is about the live hacking events. The hackers, they love earning bounties out of the bugs, but they dream about the live hacking events. So this is, I really appreciate the fact that you guys have organized it. And the best part is that, Bugcrowd is there. They are with you guys as well. That's really awesome. And I really appreciate that.
Yes, sir, and like we are also very thankful, and we never thought that we would be able to partner with one of such amazing platform. And I know you are also among top hunters on that platform. So, like, if I ask you about your views and how was your journey on Bugcrowd, so can you share us a few insight on that?
Yeah, it's really been a long journey over the Bugcrowd. Like I've been hunting over the other platforms as well, but Bugcrowd was one of my that I was going through. And since we are talking about the live hacking events, then the only two live hacking events that I was the part of, they were actually from Bugcrowd. The two of the bug bashes. One was the Okta bug bash, and then this Vegas bug bash in 2022. So I'll be talking about that as well, about my experience later on. For me personally, Bugcrowd always been one of the most amazing platform. I really love it, and I encourage other new beginners, or even if really something that you should pursue.
I think, sir, there's a bit of network issue from your side, if I'm correct. There's a bit, lag.
Okay, I think I should be keeping my microphone close to my mouth. Is it good now? Am I clearly audible now?
There was a network lag actually. You just stopped for a second in between when you were talking.
Okay, okay. Yeah, no problem. For the whole time, then I'll be keeping this like very close to my mouth.
Fine. So, sir, would you be sharing any slide and what do you like to share with our Indian cybersecurity community and your experience from the past so far?
Yeah, so I'll be presenting some of the slides to you guys, and what you should be doing from the aspect of a live hacking event. What should be just an overview about what should be your approach, and then later on we'll be covering about as a beginner, what are the aspects that you really need to touch upon. So yeah, I'll be going through the slides.
Sure, definitely. And I know everyone would be excited for the same. And I think we can get started. We have already people joining us in the live now.
Okay, Harinder, that would be great. So I'm just turning off my video. Will it be okay so that I can share the content?
Sure, sir. That definitely works.
Yeah. So just let me know once it's visible.
It's visible, sir.
So yeah, once again, a very good evening, Harinder and everyone and the entire Hack with India team. So for those who don't know, my name is Ankit Singh. I'm a cybersecurity researcher and a full-time bug bounty hunter. These are the platforms where I usually hack, but majorly on the Bugcrowd. I mean, 99% of my time over the Bugcrowd. And since we are talking about the live hacking events, so uh, like right now, as of now, I'm joining from Dubai, UAE. But back when I was in India, I had the opportunity to be the part of some of the live hacking events, especially for the bug crowds. For example, in the 2021, I was invited in the Okta Bug Bash 2021, and I still remember when I when I entered into the bash and looking at the fellow hackers that I was competing with. It was like, come on, man, no way I'm gonna make it even among the top 20 or 30. But fortunately, I don't know how I ended up at the second spot, and I also won most interesting bug award along with one more award. That was the first P3 reported award. So yeah, this was my first ever bug bash that I joined. I'm in the lab hacking event from the bug crowd. Then right in the next year, I had the opportunity to be the part of Vegas bug bash in 2022, and once again that year as well I came at the second spot. It was basically for the Indeed live hacking event, so obviously there were some scopes and that entire thing, that rush and everything, the thrill that you get out of mm, finding bugs, and not just finding bugs but escalating them as well. Apart from that, talking about the bug bounties and all, then as I said, mostly for most of my time I'm over the bug crowd. Um, but but from past some time I was really inactive over the platform. That's why my rank has dropped a lot. This is me. This is the all India rankings for the Indian researchers ranking over the Bugcrowd platform. uh, Let me see it. Yeah, this is me over here. So since for a long time I was really inactive, so my rank has dropped a lot. Anyways, so one of the best approach that I feel personally and I always admire is never ever, drop your findings as it is, the way they are in the very basic form. I mean, if you have found any cross-site scripting, XSS, open redax, whatever, then always try to escalate your bugs. And Harinder, in between, like if there is any problem with my voice, or if there are any delays, just let me know, interrupt me, and let me know, and I'll repeat the stuff.
Sure, definitely, no worries.
Yeah. So always try to escalate your bugs. And what I mean by this, let's just talk about the excesses for an instance. For example, I have some of my reports for which I have the public disclosure allowed. So you can find them over one of my GitHub repo, which contains all my write-ups over here. So within this, there is a very simple finding. It's not very complex, very simple. Over the Trello, I have found Trello is one of the asset belonging to Atlassian. And over here, what was the thing? Like earlier, I reported this one. It was assigned with the P2 severity. So basically, it was a simple exercise. I could have just brought a pop-up over the screen and would have submitted it. But instead of doing that, I just went ahead and I tried to escalate it. So what was the issue over here? The issue is it was basically a DOM-based cross-site scripting over the Trello.com. And over here, if you can see, I have provided the vulnerable code as well. So this was the endpoint having that vulnerable JS file with the vulnerable code. So let's have a look over this one, okay, over this tiny code. JavaScript. So if you take a look, you can see a constant has been defined by the name of a, okay, and the value of it, this is the value of it, one of the variable content URL. Now the thing was, the value of this variable was actually passed from one of the get parameter called as the content URL, and this parameter over here. So I mean, this was the endpoint, and this is the that parameter that I'm talking about. And then, without having any prior validation, they were just passing this value within the src attribute of the iframe element. So we see the iframe over here, and so this a, we can see, so they directly passed it, and you can see there is no prior validation about the URL being passed. Forget about the URL validation, even the URI scheme validation is also not there. So so obviously, if this is the case, then you can, instead of passing evil.com or something like that and then just reporting an iframe injection, what you can do, you can instead inject like JavaScript URIs to execute any JavaScript. So same thing I did. So I passed this JavaScript URI, and over here, instead of just popping up the stuff, you can see I provided the malicious payload over here. What this payload was doing, basically, it was it's very simple. Actually, it's one of the most simple example that I can give. Let me URL decode this, and then I will tell you why on the first hand I have actually encoded it. So let me just copy it. So if I URL decode that value, so you can see how simple the payload is. So this is how it looks like. So basically, I'm just stealing the cookie values of the victim. And the point over here is, you see this character over here plus. So if I try to pass this payload in the plain format within this content URL parameter, then what will happen, once the victim will try to visit over the entire URL, the browser will URL decode the entire payload, and in that sense, the all like the plus characters, they will get URL decoded. And what is the URL decoded form of the plus character? It will be a white space. So you see this plus, if I decode it, we can see it's gone, and what is there now? Just a space, basically the white space. So the syntax will break. That's why it's sometimes important that you URL decode, I mean URL encode your entire payload. So this is how it was. And then they just, the attack scenario would be, as an attacker, I will send you one of the link. You click over the link and your account will be mine. So that's how much simple it would be. So yeah, so this is one of the very basic example. But so what I'm trying to explain over here, instead of just reporting a pop-up, I try to escalate it into something else. Rather, it be very simple, as simple as stealing the cookie values. Because in real sense, I do have some other reports as well within my account for whom I don't have the public. I cannot show it, but in those reports, I have even taken advantage of the that they have in order to steal the key, which was kept at one of the other subdomain, which was not having the XSS vulnerability. You know what I mean? See, we talk about the course misconfiguration, but I'm talking about the course configuration right now, not the misconfiguration. See, I mean to say, suppose if there is one subdomain, they have the XSS vulnerability, but over that subdomain, you don't find anything sensitive, no cookies, no API keys, nothing. But suppose if course allow this subdomain to talk with one of the other subdomain, which may have something sensitive. So what you will do, you will make use of the AJAX, right? You will make use of you will craft your payload in such a way that from this subdomain you will talk with the other subdomain to get the values from that one. Why? Because the course allows this subdomain to talk with the other one. Course allow the vulnerable subdomain to talk with the other subdomain. So in that case, the same origin policy of the browser will not hinder you to escalate your stuff. So that will be a better approach in order to escalate your XSS stuff. So this was just a basic example. So what I'm trying to say, no pop-ups, please, no pop-ups. And second thing, I could have simply passed like evil.com or anything like that, and I could have said, yeah, this is the iframe injection. But no, like you need to do something better than that. Always try to do something better. So instead of iframe injection or just a simple pop-up, I try to escalate this DOM-based XSS into something like this, which is again very simple, but at least it increases the severity of it. Second thing I want to say, whenever you try to escalate, don't escalate it right at the moment, because sometimes what happens, you put all your effort and then it turns out to be a duplicate report. Then all your time has been wasted. And since we are talking about the live hacking events, then time is really crucial. The time is really crucial. So you need to be cautious about time. So once you get to know that the report is unique, it has been triaged, or if the triager is asking you for further information, then you try to escalate it. Then you try to put your time into it, okay? Because most of the time, the accesses may be duplicate. The open redirection may be duplicate. So like that. Yeah, and open redirection, you can make use of them to stealing WATH tokens and all. So this thing of escalating the stuff, chaining the behavior of the application, chaining the vulnerabilities, this is very important, okay? And every time you won't get the opportunity to steal the cookie values is something really very, very simple, okay? So you may not get it everywhere, but you need to find out the opportunity, what you could actually do. Maybe stealing something from the source, talking to other subdomains and like that. Other thing I will talk about when we are talking about the live hacking events, what can make you different from others is try to dig the hidden flaws. We all try to analyze one of the endpoint. I mean, so many endpoints are there, so many subdomains are there. You do the recon, you find some stuff, endpoints are there, but you just give a quick eye and then you decide, oh, nothing is there, and you just move on. So I guess this shouldn't be like that. Try to dig something, even if on the surface it may look like as if nothing is there. So try to dig the hidden flaws. What are the requirements for these to dig something hidden out there? First of all, expertise over the class of vulnerability which you are trying to exploit, one thing. Second thing, understanding of application behavior and endpoint identification. What I mean to say, try to understand how the application behaves. How does it talks to you? How does it talks to the client? Okay, the behavior of the application. I have seen so many people, and for some of them it may be a good approach as well, but for me it is not. And that approach is about blindly bombarding all the payloads over all the endpoints, over all the subdomains like that. This is not what I like to do. My approach is, I always try to understand the behavior of the application. How does it behaves? Okay, and once you understand the behavior, then you will be able to chain the different behavior over the different endpoints, and out of those behaviors, several behavior, by chaining all them up, you'll be able to discover a new vulnerability. I mean, you'll be able to craft a vulnerability even if it is not existing at an endpoint. You know what I mean? So just try to chain all the behavior and craft a vulnerability. Don't discover a vulnerability, don't find, because vulnerability may not be there. You need to craft the one. So understanding of application behavior, and then identify the endpoint. So what I mean to say, you should have a good understanding of one of the classes of the vulnerability. Even if you're not the expert, just have a good understanding of it. Then understand how the application is behaving. Combine these two, and bombard that, fire that over one of the endpoint that you have identified. For example, once again, I will go through one of the report. For this one as well, I had the permission to get it disclosed partially. So let's talk about the web cache poisoning. Okay, So this was a bit different than the usual web cache poisoning that one may find. And before I explain the stuff of this report, I I have to expect. I mean, I expect that some of the viewers are already aware with how the basic web cache poisoning works, because this is not the basic form of the web cache poisoning. So if you know how the basic stuff works, if you're already aware about the cache keys and all, I mean, there are some cache keys on the basis of which we see that the cache server is getting me a copy of the response from the cache, or whether it is actually requesting the backend web server to get me the response. So you should be able, I mean, you should have the understanding of the cache keys and all. So web cache pausing capability to disable deface this app dot vulnerable.com, we can say, a tale of pausing through the layers of caching. So it was something which would 99% of time would be skipped by many of the researchers, even if they have analyzed the endpoint. But I was still able to find something hidden out there. How? This is how it was. So first of all, I will like to talk about the challenges, and let's just refer this target as app.vulnerable.com. So these were the challenges. The challenge number one, the cache key transformation at app.vulnerable.com is excluding the entire query string from the cache key. What it means in the simple wording, the get parameter that we see at the URL, that are passed at the URL, the get parameters are not serving as the cache keys. Or in more simpler words, you cannot use get parameters such as this, don't poison everyone is equals to true, as the cache buster. Okay. So I hope you understood what I mean. Means requesting this, I mean, if I request this subdomain along with this cache buster, then it will always retrieve the cache stored for this endpoint. So the point of placing a get parameter to make them serve as the cache buster is not going to work. This is the thing. Why? Because get parameters were not serving as the cache keys. So this was the first challenge. Okay. The challenge number two was not just the get parameters, but the entire path, the endpoint, not only the query string, but this one is among those rare cases where even the path has been excluded from the cache key. Means requesting app.vulnerable.com/anything, where anything is suppose it's just an endpoint, will only result in an HTTP 200, okay, with a cache hit. You see the cache hit, not the cache miss, a cache hit, where the response would fetch the cache stored for this without an endpoint. So this is the thing. Means if I request this, or if I request this, the cache server will fetch me the same response, because for them, the path has been excluded from the cache key. So in such a scenario, the other problem was if I try to do the path normalization using the characters such as these, double slash, or we try to URL encode the path, the forward slashes, then all these techniques will not be able to get you a cache miss. Okay, I hope you already know what cache hit or miss means, because as I said, this is not a basic cache repassing report. So, as one of the paper that was presented by the James Kettle in the Black Hat, it was about the web cache entanglement. So there they mentioned this technique, like if you want to, you can make use of path normalization if you want to have a cache buster out of the path. So in that case, we make use of these characters. The third problem was usually the origin header is the part of the cache key. For example, especially the Cloudflare WAF, they treat the origin header as one of the cache key. Alongside the get parameters, they treat the origin header as well. So no other request header, including the origin header, is included in the cache key. And the only exception was the accept encoding header against a single character length value would help you to hit the backend web server to get a cache miss, but that only for once. Means requesting accept encoding with a single character, where this could be any character, would act as the cache buster, but afterwards requesting any other character at the place of G or something else will not be able to get, will not, and they will only get me a cache hit against the response which was already stored for accept encoding G. So, I mean, yeah, you know the URL, you can just go through this report and understand it by yourself. But these were the challenges that I had, and so when I gave them a POC over the Bugcrowd that you need to uh, inject your payload uh, through one of the header, and that header will obviously be the unkeyed header. Like, the get parameters are usually the cache keys. Then there are some unkeyed parameters as well. I mean, the unkeyed portion of HTTP request from via which you inject the payload for the cache poisoning. So in this case, the accept encoding G header or any single character was the unkeyed header, which was giving me the opportunity to inject the payload. But doing so was a problem. Why it was a problem? Because obviously for them, they may think that for the victim end as well, they need to request the asset with accept encoding G. I mean, as an attacker, if I am poisoning one of the cache with this being the cache key, then the victim should also have this within their request. Then, if that is the case, then what is the real attack scenario? Nothing, because you cannot change the accept encoding header value for a victim. You cannot do it. Okay. So that's why they were not able to understand what I actually meant, and they closed the report as not applicable. So in that case, for me, the only workaround I was left with was to actually poison the subdomain, and I was able to say so because it was a staging environment, not over the production. So how did it? First, I requested for the permission. They gave me the permission because it was not production, it was staging. And once I acquired the permission, I did the very simple thing that you will do as a real hacker or as a cyber criminal to actually exploit a web cache poisoning. What you will do, you will just look out for these two headers in the response, age and the max age. And max age is the life of a cache, and age is the current time that has been passed out of that max age life. Means based on the values of age and max age response header, and attacker can identify that the life of current cache is this much seconds, out of which its age seconds are already passed. So once the age will become equal to the max age value, then they need to instantly initiate the attack request. Okay, how the attack request will look like, this is how it will look like. This is my unkeyed header over here, XAMZ server-side encryption. And from this, I was passing my any value that I want to trigger one of the error. And the error will have this message, this string that I'm passing, and it will get stored by the cache server. So for the subsequent users, the same response will get displayed with this message. What does the message says? POC by Ankit Singh. So yeah, now any genuine user visiting at this would see the message POC by Ankit Singh instead of the intended 200 OK response. So once I gave them the real the report was rewarded. But anyway, the thing is, how does the attack scenario look like? This is how it looked like. This is how the portal looked previously in its normal form. But once I do the poisoning, then for every visitor visiting to this website, for them, the website will say POC Blankets and POC. Obviously, we are good people. We are ethical hackers. We are bug bounty hunters. So we say POC the Ankit Singh, but the real-time criminals, they won't say POC, they will say something else. So this is the before and this is the after. So this is how the things are. You need to make yourself good. Try to, study the research papers from different researchers, the papers from DEFCON, the Black Hat. Make sure you are up to dated with all the latest techniques and all. It will really benefit you to find something which is really hidden under the layers, under so many layers of application, or we can say the layers of cache. So yeah, this is how it is. And so now some of the beginner tips and resources I would like to give. And for that, I have one of the X thread over here, which you can simply go to. This one, I have provided some of the resources, some tips which might be useful, especially if you're a beginner. For example, the pentester land. I mean, for disclosed bug reports and the write-ups, you can go for the pentester.land. For a HackerOne's activity, where they do have the publicly disclosed reports, you can go through these reports, study them, make yourself good, make yourself sharp. Bugcrowd has the crowd stream, the way the HackerOne has activity. You can go through it. There are some virtual labs as well. The best one is obviously from the Portswigger Web Security. This is what I personally feel. There are other as well which are good. DVWA, Down Vulnerable Web Application. Apart from that, there is one from the IBM as well, demo.testfire.net. This also you can use to practice your hacking skills. Okay. They have this testfire.net as well. Same application will be there. So this is something you can use as one of the lab. Some old resources, but they are good in the sense this. I mean, I want to talk about this handbook, Web Application Hackers Handbook. This also I have mentioned over here. So is the second edition. Exploit DB, obviously they have the publicly available exploits there. Some of the YouTube channels, Bug Bounty Reports Explained. It's a good YouTube channel. You can go through it. They try to explain some of the unique findings and all, so you can watch them. Parahava, they also have a good YouTube channel. Some of the stuff she has explained really well. Job and internship opportunity you can have. You can look for from the null portal that the null community have. I mean, over here you can find the dedicated jobs, internship opportunities like that, dedicated for the cybersecurity, even the non-technical opportunity, but within the domain of the cybersecurity. Everything you can get from jobs.null.community. So like that, EC console CEH thing also you can do. The NAMSEX, they have good resources for the beginner. I mean, you can just go through it. So yeah, these are some of the stuffs you can make use of, especially if you're a beginner. But always know there's nothing like a beginner. It's just the hunger about what you really want to achieve in your life. The life is big, man. It's massive. It's complex. So many things are there. The only thing that matters is your dreams. Your dreams are everything. The reality is not true. The dreams are for real. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, thank you so much. I know it was a very short stuff that I presented, uh, but I guess since I'm the last one and the time is already limited, so this is what we can do right now. So these are the my social media profiles. If you want to stay in touch, you can get with me. So yeah, thank you everyone. This is it from my side.
Just a second. I would like to say thank you, sir, for like it was not a short session. It was one of the resourceful, I would say. Especially your catchy poisoning and all approach and everything would be really helpful for a lot of hunters who are getting started and all. And this is something everyone was expected and were really eager to learn from you. And this is just a one for our first event, and sure we will be definitely looking for more. And we will definitely try one in person as well, and we will love to have you in that as well. And I really loved the session, and I can see in the comments as well. Everyone really loved what you taught today to them, and this live is not just limited to today only. So it would be public for everyone after our talk. So not only this session, but the other hunters who will be coming forward will also be going through this, and will be really thanking you for joining us and the Indian community as well.
Yeah, sure, Harinder, sure. That would be my pleasure. और हाँ, धन्यवाद आप सभी को, to everyone. It was my pleasure. Yeah.
Sure. So in the meantime, I will share your LinkedIn and all. Like people are asking, so I will drop that in the chat for you. So you can expect a good amount of people pinging you for vulnerabilities, beginner guide, and a lot more.
हाँ, बिल्कुल. Yeah, sure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us
Okay.